Alright, after all that, good God. Okay, we got there. Jesus. Hello, welcome in everyone. I'm just waiting for Milky Way to send the code. We just had some issues with people doing no-shows and stuff. So it's going to be Curio versus Milky Way. I'm ready to die, I'm on YouTube. That is the general response to being on YouTube. This is true, Spotify. Oh, never mind. Do we have Curio? We don't. Yeah, sub to me. Do it. Do it this instant. Me live. No, that is definitely not what I wanted to do. Lamau XD. So we're going to be watching Curio versus Milky Way to start off with. Both of them are homies, so I'm looking forward to that one. Tourney live. And I might be casting Elden Ring tournament on Sunday. We'll see. There is a non-zero chance I will be doing it, so keep your eyes peeled for that over on Own Trilson's stream. I think it's the Trillionaire thing. He was stuck for a caster. And I'll be hosting something next week, so Milky Way nickname? Milky Way. What's he called on the challenge? Here, let me, Milky Way. What has he even called himself here? Someone stole Skaven. He's playing Lizardman today. Isn't it a single player game? No. Well, the same way Total War is a single player game. I was incredibly involved in that scene before I came over here for my sins. Same with Dark Souls 3. Them are my roots for my sins. Alright. No, I got Curio. There we go. We're good. We're Gucci. We're golden. Multiplayer battles. And I need to do the thing. Where is my... There we go. That'll do. How do you play it? It's... Well, we use mods for maps and stuff like that, but there's a bunch of, there's a PvP system in the game, like the arenas and stuff, but they're utter garbage. Like, beyond garbage. So we just use map mods and stuff like that. That's how we do it. To make it a little bit easier. Likewise, there's invasions and stuff like that in Elden Ring. You could be thinking of Night Rain, which I haven't touched. Although I am beyond disgusted at FromSoft. You want replays? Yeah, replays would be fantastic. Yeah, remember to send replays. Oh. And remember to send replays so I can cast them after. Cool. Oh my god, you monster. You monster, Milky Way. I played a whole I'm not thinking of anything. Oh really? Yeah, well there's invasions of the game. They just changed how they worked. Which is part of the problem why that scene struggles so hard. On top of the community not having a fucking clue how to do onboarding and stuff. Although they've gotten marginally better at it. The joke for the longest time is that I've stolen so many of the great ideas that have come out of the Total War scene. Like the beginner brackets, different ways to implement like onboarding for new players, trying to help people, all that stuff. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. So when I say in like the Under Empire or whatever, it's like, oh, you guys have onboarding like pretty much down and all that stuff, I legitimately mean it because you're worth stealing from. Like, legit. For real. On God. No cap. On a stack. Alright, we're just going to wait a second. And make sure everyone's in. Although I think both of the players are cool duderinos when it comes to... When it comes to that kind of stream sniping and stuff, but... Yeah, it's fun. I met some very, very cool people. I actually met up with them not so long ago, and some of them over in London. It was really fun. I dragged them to a sword museum. Which is pretty on brand. Alright, well, both players are starting to get their act together, so... If they start doing wild things to counter stuff, we'll expect changes. So as you can see on the side of Curio, we have boys. Da boys, more boys. Even some goblins. We have rock lobbas. I have seen people play an awful lot more with Artie. None of the factions I play have Artie. We have Savage Orc Boar Boys, more Savage Orc Boar Boys. We have the Dirkit Squigs, which is kind of interesting. And then we have Giant River Troll Hag with her Purple Son of Xerius and the Spirit Leech, along with a bit of power. Give me the power. And all of everything else in life leeching as well. We have the Vanguard, the 8-peak Loonies, and Gorbad Ironclaw. With the Great Leader. And we have, of course, a Night Goblin Big Boss with Squig Thinking. Over here on the side of Milky Way, we have Temple Guard, Legion of Chalqua, Sora Spears, more Temple Guard, the Skink Priest of Heavens with the Comet trying to kill the dinosaurs, very on brand. And of course, Harmonic Convergence. I think that's basically him, otherwise naked. Curse Charm of Topek and the Rolling Skies. With on the flanks, some cold ones. Cold ones with spears. More cold one with spears. And likewise on this flank, but one of them, the Pip Hopak Cold One Spear Rider pack. The cohort, if you will. And some more Duderinos. Skink Priest of Heavens. And we have Nakai the Wanderer. Look at him wander. Look at the Wanderer in question. Look at him go. Look at him go. As they have spotted the 8-peak Loonies. As the Artie is just going ham here. Very expensive things to hit with your artillery, so that's pretty good. And there is a lot of it, as we are seeing Nakai try to take on the River Troll Hag. Gorbad reckoning he can take him. He got this. Still coming forward. No sign of any spells or anything like that, as the mobility elements are starting to square off. Saying the good old-fashioned put 'em up buttercup. As the front lines finally start to engage 8-peak Loonies. I'm reckoning there's a plan. There better be a plan. Saving up the whirligigs of doom, darkness and despair. Are they going to do it? Nothing yet. Well, they're holding, as over here on the flanks things aren't looking quite so great. Cold One Spear Riders are going to be trading okay into the Dirkit Squigs, but they're taking a lot of damage for it. Over here, the Savage Orc Boar Boys are having a bad time, but they might do okay. Over here on this flank here, though, the mobility swings about face. About face! As they're about to hit the back line here. Get rid of these lobbas. And as you can see here, unfortunately, these Savage Orc Boar Boys are going to be disappearing. Making themselves pretty scarce. As the Dirkit Squigs are going down here. Chasing off these chaps to make sure you'll never have to worry about them again. As we do see the Squig herd come down from the Squig Thinking. Pretty Squig Thinking if you ask me. As the Temple Guard have absolutely hacked and slashed their way through pretty much everything. Artie is compromised. Temple Guard marching on them as well. As we are going to see Nakai taking a bit of damage. And then the spinny things. Look at them go. As they're going to try and take out the Cold One Aura War. That'll do. As unfortunately one of these Cold Ones isn't doing so hot. He is not feeling it, Mr. Krabs. Temple Guard ready to hit on these orc boys. Sorry, hit them, not hit on. Can lizards and mushrooms find love? Find out later. As we are going to see these savage orc boar boys get a beautiful rear charge here on the cold ones with spears. Which is going to be devastating. A cryery time. Over here we are going to see the tattered remnants of one cold ones. They're ready to take on the squigs, but they are idling. An oil change needed for their velociraptors. But unfortunately now, as their velociraptors are about to be hit, Durkic Squigs getting a nice side charge in on them. 4 entities on 1. That's not fair. Because he's dead. You hate to see it. Sad day for dinosaurs. Didn't see if there was a Comet of Cassandra go down. But with all the arty taken out, Ruglin's Armoured Orcs en route. These guys could get back on. But beautiful charge goes in here against these little goblins. As that's going to be the Durkic Squigs trading off pretty evenly here with these Cold One Riders. They're both are probably gone here. As we are going to see the Snagless Death Thrower, the Goblin Bolt Thrower. About to be taken out. Temple Guard. Hacking, cleaving. Having the time of their frickin' lives. As the Hammer of Gork is back in play. For at least for now. Although I'm expecting some SE shenanigans to go down. As these, unfortunately these Savage Orc Boar Boys are going to be routed off, I imagine, in just a second. Orc Boys coming into support, but it might just be too little too late. They're getting torn into itty bitty bits as Milky Way is swinging out about around. Beak circles coming in to try and help with all of his mobility pieces back in the fray. Ruglin's Armoured Orcs are probably going to be on that priority list. Nakai hitting duders, but unfortunately the Skink Priest not having a good time of it. Still have some of the Legion of Chakwa in play. A little bit of mobility, but the ability now for the Orcs just to be cycled charged into oblivion. Not great, not ideal. As Gorbad is having a bad time of it. But the Purple Sun Black Holes and Revelations going on over here, which allows Gorbad to get the hell out of dodge. Obviously these Cold One Spears are not having a good time. They're just idling a little bit in Orcs, which is probably not what you should do. Mass Rout comes in here thanks to a beautiful rear charge here by the Spear Rider Aura War. Bits and pieces are getting sent home. Ruglin's Armor's Orcs are gone. These Orc boys are pretty much gone. This Temple Guard probably wanting to be back into the fray. Unfortunately, the Goblin, Night Goblin Big Boss is off. The Hag is off. And if I could fast forward, I would, because it ain't looking too good for the Goblins. Bad day. Unforch. Oh shit, I accidentally closed that. Oh dear. And the Horde descends on the mean and the green. As they set up now for a nice charge. Oh, the Orcs did manage to get their arty back as they're chasing off some things. All is not entirely lost as we're going to see everyone focus down on Nakai. Was not happy. Starting to reform, chasing off some things. All is good. As we're now going to start to see a charge come through. Nakai might want to separate himself out from the cold ones here. As we're seeing a nice charge come in here and the Snagless Death Thrower. Well, they would be a nice charge if they... Well, they're still fresh. And unfortunately, the Goblin's back in business. And that's a lot of mobility here still active. Does he have any more squigs in his back pocket? No, he does not have any more squigs. It's going to be a rampage coming down. I would say this is a compromising position, but unfortunately it really is not. And I'd imagine army losses is just a week away, given the lizards to Big W. As pretty much everything is en route. Lord is dead. This guy's gonna rout. I mean, maybe she could put down a purple sun here, but I don't think she has the winds of magic for it. So it's not looking good for Curiel. Not ideal. Army losses sets in. GG's. And that is all she wrote. Good job, guys. Values. Gorbad did 1100, and then a tasteful amount of value out from that. A couple of the orc boys had some cold ones saturated in among them for a while, so that was pretty good. AP Loons, they did grand. Ruglans. I forgot! In all fairness, it's not a terrible build that you took into him. Especially with the high value temple guard that you could just like nuke down before they got close. Very funny. 10 out of 10. But even then, that's a bit of a gamble. $1,000 value, 700 value, 1,400 value. Jesus, not great. 1,300. Yeah, Nakai 14. Throw rocks and just gave it weapon team build. Tasteful, gents. Tasteful. Alright, that's the first one done. Let's see how we're fixed on the bracket. Still Spotify and Sexy Boy to go yet. And then that's going to be... Oh, Butcher and Kokino's finished up. Which would have made sense. Oh, I accidentally closed our DMs, so I'll have to open them up again. Thank you, Butcher. Thanks, Butcher. There we go, that's grand. I have more RT to win the exchange if he picks a good zaps up. I actually don't know. It's a good one. Have I ever seen... Yeah, 4 Artie versus Lizardman is a bit of an oopsie. An oopsie daisies. Right, how are we looking on the bracket? Okay, we have more people. Let's go Kokino Sexy Boy. Let's watch them play. Or Slanesh Boy, whatever the hell we're calling him now. And at Kokino open slot and send code. Slot and send code. Open slot and send code. Oakley dokley. Was wild. I'll have to check it out. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Alright. Let me put up the thingy. I do want to see what this what the Wood Elf build is taken here. What do I usually take into Nurgle? If I'm feeling mean-spirited, wanna see? Yeah, I've already put it in. I'm already in there. Big, what's up, SK? How goes it, duder? All melee, no caster. We kind of expect that from you, Spotify, to be perfectly honest with you. The day you take a caster is the day a part of the community dies. A terrible death. I will mourn it. I think you can go for some full kite horror show into Nurgle without too many issues. The only problem is you don't get access to high magic to deal with the Furies if you go for the net, which will just obliviate. If I was Wood Elves, I'd take all melee and no caster and win with no kite. Bad man. Dryad, but Dryads are also super handy. They just tear through everything but the high armor stuff, which is quite spincy, but I don't know. I'll defer. Kugat auto wins versus that on Spotify. And you've also told people what you're going to bring. Well, Kugat can take out all of the archers here, can't he? And they can just, like, send so much stuff out forward. I'm not looking at the builds, so... Zones will carry trust. Oh, I've had good success. I've done decent. I think when Darth Plagueis was still doing the beginners tourneys, I think I played into him a bit. Or the new players. I love Zotes in concept, but I always feel whenever I take them that I'm just paying. Is this Elbir Khan? It's a land battle. Land battle tournament. Did I not specify that in the challenge? It should be. Unless I renamed it. Yeah, Thursday Throwdown Land Battle SFT. What do you mean he can't win versus all melee? Spotify. What? Excuse me? Isn't that Kugat's job? No? That is definitely an opinion. I would just give it a minute and we'll let the folks get into a position, get most of their stuff down, and then we'll do the big reveal. Alright, we're starting to see the... We'll do the Widows first, why not? Alright, so... on the side of Slanesh Boy, we have some Glade Riders, Sisters of Thorn. Glade Riders, Sisters of Thorn. A lot of cavalry. Oh my god, that's a lot of cavalry. Wild Hunters of Kurnos. Wild Riders, Glade Riders. It's a cav. That's a lot of cavalry. Good lord. With Durthu, Sword of Death, Flock of Doom, not the bees. Not the bees, and a couple of Hagbane Tip Glade Guard in the backfield. Then likewise, from the side of Kokino, we have Warhounds, the Flockers Bubonic, regular ass Nurglings, of which there are 1, 2, 3, 4. Along with some more Poison Warhounds, 2 on the flank. The Rotten Riders, the Ride. Chaos Sorcerer with a Stream of Corruption, Rancid Visitations, and Cloud of Flies. Some Chaos Knights of Nurgle, Furies, 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 Warhounds, some Knights, and that is the build. And we are going to see all hell break loose as Durthu ambles angrily forward as the two lines are getting ready to meet. We're going to see the skirmish elements do their skirmish elements things. Furies coming up on top now to try and do some stuff, get some damage in. They are going to collapse here onto the Sisters of Thorn, who are going to, as we say in the business, leg it. But we're going to see the other kite elements come in now to try and maybe support. Warhounds coming in to collapse over this flank. This flank is idling just a little bit, but an awful lot of action is happening over here pretty freaking quickly, as we're seeing these Chaos Furies get absolutely melted. Durthu ambling forward onto the idled out flank. This Fury is going to have to retreat just for a little bit, as does the other one. Little bit of damage on the Warhounds. That's one mobility piece pretty badly hurt, along with these Chaos Furies over here who are going to be taking a little bit of a battering. With Durthu, angry Tree Gandhi, hopping on over to take a look, as we are going to see these Chaos Knights of Nurgle now take a little bit of fire, trying to angle just around them here as these Warhounds pivoting over to try and stop the surround on the Chaos Knights here. Durthu's going to be chilling like a villain in the middle of some Nurglings. I believe, yeah, that's Rancid Visitations going down on him. We do see the Wild Riders coming in for a nice charge, but they are going to be kited out just a little bit. We still see the kite elements continue to nuke down some of these Furies just a little bit. We see the Furies actually managed to get a dive here onto the Glade Guard with Hagbane Tips. I believe that, yeah, the Sword of Death has gone down here, catching these poor unfortunate Chaos Knights, as the Wild Hunters of Kurnos are going to charge down these Chaos Furies, bringing them down over here on this flank here. We're going to see an immediate charge into these Chaos Knights, as an awful lot of the mobility elements here from the side of Nurgle are going to be caught out. Beautiful charge comes in here from some Wild Riders. Chaos Furies are gone. It's good night and good luck as they're melting away off to see their god. Back to the garden, as these Warhounds are going to get a charge off onto these Glade Riders, but are going to take an awful lot of damage in the process. These Glade Guard with Hagbane Tips are going to be taken out. Chaos Knights ain't looking so hot. We're still seeing fire ranged in on all of the mobility pieces here from the side of Nurgle. Where are the Rotten Riders? Rotten Riders going in here for a nice round here on Durthu. We're probably going to see a Flock of Doom come down here onto some of these Chaos Knights, some of the big blobs of stuff. Wild Hunters of Kurnos ready to try and get a nice charge in here, but they are going to be targeted down. Can we get the intercept going on here? No, they are going to be caught just a little bit. Durthu's still in the middle of another Rancid Visitations going down? No, I might have missed it if it did, as these Chaos Knights are having a bad day. Frolickers Bubonic just coming in to stop this cavalry from chasing them off into the sunset, as we see a pivot out around here. Chaos Knights now going to be taking a little bit of damage. The bees! Flock of Doom comes down, doing a nice bit of damage, taking out these Warhounds. You see a nice charge in here, but they are going to be surrounded. Not before these Glade Guard come in now to try and support. More of the mobility elements now are going to be taken out, as we do see some Warhounds coming back into the fray. Chaos Furies coming back in as well, just to pester these poor fellers. These Chaos Knights are still on play though, as we do see the stream of corruption come down. Nurglings didn't last a second, as we're going to be seeing now. The Rotten Riders continue to be kited out just a little bit dirty in the middle of this blob of cavalry and shenanigans. Chaos Knights came back here to maybe get out this Sisters of Thorn unit, which it does seem as though it has happened. You see everything pivot out around now. Sword of Death comes down onto the Rotten Riders, which is pretty huge. Another Flock of Doom, probably not too far in the distance, as the Nurglings are going to catch up to the Sisters of Thorn. Sword of Death continuing to do its things. These Nurglings taking an awful lot of damage. But the slow mobility here from Nurgle might not be able to do it, as we do see the Glade Guard with Hagbane Tips throw some shots in just to slow them down just a smidge, as we are going to see the kite continue. Loads of ammunition here from the side of Slaanesh Boy. Oh dear, oh dear. Dirthu, stuck in the middle with you. I imagine another Flock of Doom is in our future, as we do see a charge over here. The Nurglings are probably going to intercept that charge just a little bit. As the little popcorn boys sent off along with the Chaos Lord, just to try and keep these Rotten Riders getting that nice charge in. Interdasting, as we see now the Frolickers Bubonic taken down. Nurglings taking a lot of damage. Victory in the grasp. The Wood Elves. Let me just ask, what's your question? Okay. So that does seem to be Sexy Boy taking the first one. Nice. I might just have to ask a quick question about the white line stuff. That is on my mind just a little bit, although the defensive units, mostly the Glade Guard and stuff, they were pretty far away. So I don't think that would count. Considering they didn't take the defensive position, they were pushed. Their kite out. I don't know, I'll ask Butcher about it. That might be an interesting thing to think about, though. I'll have a think. I don't know how that would be called. That does count towards the... I'll just rename that. But yeah, GG's to both. Interesting build here from the side of the Wood Elves. I will have to have a think about that. Alright, let me rename that save. Either way. Desktop. So that's 2 replays I have so far. For matches I didn't see. I'll see get 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 in total. And then we'll have the 3 finals matches. Where are my saves? Give me a moment, folks. Where did I put my thing? Good lord. Ba-ba-ba. Let's replays. Save those. Marvel, what else? Nice. Okay, if that's saved. And then how are we looking for the rest of the bracket? It's the first match done, then it's Butcher versus Curio, Spotify versus Milky Way. Nice, nice. Give me just a moment, folks. Let me... Shit. No. Yeah, Durthu definitely is pretty nice in here. Zotes would be very funny. Sisters of Thorn. I don't know why I had it in my head that the Sisters of Thorn were on Oral War. Yeah, the Curse of Honor here is pretty nice. Shield of Thorns. And obviously, your mobility pieces. Because Nurgle can bring a lot of things that can outmaneuver you, which is kind of terrifying. So, let me transfer these saves over. We'll have a look. Copy. Plop that over here. And plop it down there. Neato Dorito. Okay, let's take a peek then and see how everyone else is doing. Milky Way was grabbing food, so we'll have a minute. And then it's Butcher versus Curio. As we have, if it's legal if you're pushed to the way. That's kind of what I was curious about, Butcher. It didn't seem that they're super fun matchup for Nurgle. I can imagine it's pretty rough. I'll be looking at a few bits and pieces. League if you're pushed. Okay, that's fair enough. Because that's how I interpreted it. I just wasn't sure what the rulings were in the past. Again, the rules and stuff like that for land battles, at least in my completely uneducated opinion, generally make the game a little bit more engaging. Because it's more things to consider moving around. But yeah, that was my thought. We're still just waiting now for... I think that's all of the matches. I can plop that into the folder. There we go. Yeah. It is legal to know the way. Okay. Alright, so we should be looking at... We're now just looking at Butcher versus Curio to finish up. Position to white lines. So isn't sexy defend position to white lines. We can watch a little bit of it back while we wait. Why the hell not? I did save it for just such a Watch the replay. This is stuff like this is one of the reasons why the SFTs are as a rule. All right, we'll just blitz through this very quickly. So I think we can just do it like this. So the white lines are here, most likely within the. Definitely was close. It's borderline all the way through. And it gets pushed back. Dogs, bats. There's your white line. Where are the archers and all of this? Should be up more, I think. I think at the very beginning he was definitely outside of it, but it's definitely questionable from the start. It's definitely borderline, but either way, so we've gotten that. We'll do Spotify versus Curio next, and replay. I think from the beginning it was fine. It just became very weird as the rush came through. And as well as that, like, there are so many mobility pieces, it wasn't like it was stuck, but might be worth looking into again. No, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Alright, Banwood Elves! I might ask some of the VL people at some point just to clarify. Alright, who's playing and who got stuff up? Yeah, we'll go Spotify. At Spotify. Send end code. End code. To be more room. Yeah, maybe. The thing is like you can fulfill the attacking rule by moving forward. Who was rule breaking? I got that's just my gut reaction. It's weird, right? Because all of his build was mobility, so I just don't know. I'm a con player. Yeah, there's reason to pick con. I'm always terrified of breaking rules and stuff like that in LB. That's just me. I will ask around though, because I'm curious as to how that would be. Thank you. No, I will never ask you, Curio. This is what you get for asking me to cast all of your games. It's over for you. Join, yes, please. Yeah, there we go. Honestly, I think at this point I could just find it. Okay, let me get up the blocker. There we go. Nice. Nice. Yeah, it gets funny. I don't know. I think in the 3 weeks to have one instance where something is putting off alarm bells is probably okay, though. And it's a casual tournament. It's not like there's any prize or anything. But just for records, for future records, I will definitely be asking around to see what the thoughts are. What is Spotify cooking? But yeah, for the players who are in, might be worth. If you think something may or may not be borderline, for the sake of your competitors, might be worth asking the question. Do I do this? Probably not. But yeah, not having guaranteed the one of the downsides and one of the reasons why I think people, as a general rule, kind of avoid land battle stuff, which is a shame. Is an awful lot of it is down to that interpretation, which isn't the end of the world. Yeah, after this, we'll get Butcher in. I'm actually curious what the placements are like so far. Standings. Spotify is number 1 with the 2-0. Curio second with the 1-0. Milky Way with 1-0. Sexy Boy 1-0. The Butcher 1-0. And Nurgle unfortunately having a bit of a bad day. The favourite of the grandfather are not having a good one. So the people set to advance so far are Milky Way, Sexy Boy, Curio, and Spotify. But sometimes people... I mean, that's part of the rules, right? You're wanting to make sure that the rules can be stretched, because the very edge cases are where sometimes interesting gameplay can come through. I'm refusing to elaborate or explain Spotify. I have all of the information. And don't know what I'm looking at, so it's all good. It all evens out, bestie. I will say, when push comes to shove, the true sexy boy in this stream is not the player in the tournament. I don't know what that means, Olaf. But you know what? So true, bestie. Well, according to some Spotify, you just spam Aura Wars. Son Michaels. And you... Damn! Whoa. Take me out for dinner first. What the heck? What the frick? How are you keeping though? Olaf 99999 Esquire. But yeah, I'll ask. I might ask some of the mods and stuff. I think I spam or a war. Many people told me. You click on the bonk or the savage bonk, and then you drive your opponents bonkers. Ayo! There we go. I'm retiring. That was terrible. I'm sorry to everyone I've disappointed. Alright, so... ladies and gentlemen, let's take a peek at the builds. We have the Broken Tusk Mob, the Durkat Squigs again, some Goblin Bolt Throwers. The arty spam is still alive and well. Night Goblins, fanatical ones, of which there are 1. And there are Goblin Fanatics, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 Fanatics, and the Warlord's Boys. More night goblins. Do they have the thing? They do not have the thing, no. But we do have more Savage Orc big uns. Mugrub's Mangy Marauders. Ruglans I've already said. The Hammer of Gork again. A Savage Orc Great Shaman with the Power Stone. Mumbo Jumbo Chant. The Gaze of Mork. Fist of Gork. And a Foot of Gork. Along with the little feller with some pocket squigs. Beautiful stuff. And then from the side of Grand Cat Day on Spotify. Peasants. More peasants. Loving him some peasants. And the peasants sure do love their horses. Onyx Croman up in the skies. Along with an alchemist. With the alchemist elixir of prescience. The iron skin. He doesn't have any spells. And then of course we have the Celestial General up in the sky with fearsome roar. Lord of Grand Cathay. Celestial Sweep. When Wounded Pride, the Brass Cleaver, along with Celestial Dragons, one of which is the Aura War, on the ground, ready to throw down. Another charge comes through here on the front lines, but unfortunately, the spin to wins are coming out along with the dive here from the Onyx Croman into those poor fellers who are currently butcherizing the Rusty Hours. Bad day. Durkat Squigs are kind of idling here, needing an oil change. These peasant horsemen charge through, but it does seem as though the big balls of these goblins managed to get through. Broken Tusk Mob fighting off some peasants. Dive comes in from the Onyx Croman, along with the alchemist over here to try and help out. As a bit of a favor, nice guy. And what's this guy here? It's another alchemist. As we do see the Hammer of Gork sent away. The pocket squigs are having a grand old time tearing these poor Onyx Croman to itty bitty bits. Celestial General going to help out here, the other alchemist on the flanks. Broken Tusk Mob is kind of winning, but it's looking like it's on the verge of breaking. Peasant Horsemen over here doing an okay job here against the Boar Boy Biggins, who are about to break, but not before taking out a serious percentage of that health bar. Good lord. AP Loonies chilling like villains as we're seeing the surround come in here on these Night Goblin Fanatics. They're gone. I don't think they're going to be able to play the violin again, to be perfectly frank. The Onyx Croman are going to be chasing stuff off. Going after the Mangy Marauders. Balance of power is still dead even. We're seeing the Savage Orc Shaman dive down here onto these Onyx Croman, trying to help out. Lend a helping hand. As we are going to see now these Orc Boar Boys sent off. The Warlord's boys are going to be broken. We're going to see some stuff chased off into the sunset. And apparently this alchemist is losing against Rugland's Armoured Orcs. Not quite what I was expecting. Still even Stevens here in the balance of power front. Onyx Croman with a flash disappear. Unfortunately, these Orc Boar Boy Biggins did come back, so we still have some mobility here on the side of the Mean and Greens. Goblin Bolt Thrower's not having a grand time, though. Is that Here We Go? What went on these fellers? Fist of Gork went on them. Never mind. As we're seeing everything collapse back down here. These Night Goblin Fanatics have been spotted. And the vortex will come down on them at some point as these peasant horsemen are hanging on for dear life. They seem to have traded pretty damn well into the Broken Tusk Mob. So all was not lost. Still some mobility elements from the side of both of our players. Brass Cleaver goes down, giving a nice bit of a boof. Onyx Croman here reconsidering going down after the Broken Tusk Mob, who are going to surround the Celestial General. Peasant Horsemen now going to get in on this action. Moving in. Onyx Croman dive down with the Rugland Armoured Orcs. More of this infantry is doing okay. Oh, I completely forgot about Durkat Squigs. who are very healthy right now. As the spin to win comes down on these poor fellers, they are not having a good day. Good God. Broken Tusk Mob are, well, broken. Balance of power skittering, teetering in the favor of Grand Cathay. Spotify's Cav Rush seem to be doing okay. Seeing Onyx Croman still in play. The pocket squigs are out. Squigs out for the greens and means. As we're seeing those slightly more healthy elements of Grand Cathay start to make it around. How did these guys do? This summon actually did pretty okay considering. Onyx Croman are about to get dived. But unfortunately, the Shaman is now kind of isolated. Another charge comes through here on the flanks. On the other flank, Peasant Horseman. The Squigs are going to do really well here. Celestial General has taken a lot of damage though, but so too is the Shaman. As we're seeing the rest of the Tattered Mobility come back around. The Aura War in shambles. This is the Greenskins may come back from this. They still have a lot more stuff in play. Celestial General is in a bad way. Completely isolated. But unfortunately the Squigs did take a lot of damage there. As we see the Halberds move in to try and support. Onyx Croman up in the skies. Might want to be chasing some of these mobility pieces off. And that's going to be the Shaman broken. And only 30 seconds left here on these chaps. Celestial General is very low. But so too is pretty much everything else. Drukket Squigs are back. General is nearly down. The staunch line of spears. Once this summon goes down, we might be... It's going to be looking very dangerous for the mean and greens. But unfortunately, they don't have anything really to chase off the Celestial General. While the Onyx Croman, what are you doing? You need to chase him down! If he comes back, it's going to be very dangerous. We still have a very healthy single entity out here on the flanks. I believe all of... Yeah, they still have a... Oh no, they still have a vortex. Uh-oh. Oh dear. Do we have a couple of them with vortexes? No, they've used theirs. Still a couple there. And it looks as though the General comes back. A rout comes through. And a victory for Spotify once more. GG's. Thank you, Butcher. Okay, GG. Taking you out for dinner in this economy. Listen, I'm a classy broad, okay, Olaf? I'm sorry. To handle. Dude, you had two. You had so many goblins. And it would have been really funny. 600, 400, 400, 800. Cavalry didn't do great. The Croman, I'm actually surprised they did as much damage as they did. The no-caster god himself. like you. You can stay. You can stay. Oh my god. Alright, sorry, let me regather my composure there real quick. We'll talk. Oh, Jesus. Alright, anyway, let's take a look at the matches, see what we got. Oh! We might actually stay with Spotify and Butcher. So we'll stick with Spotify for the minute. So how are we looking here on the standings? So Spotify, next is Butcher, then there's Sexy Boy, and then there's Kino. Yeah, this next round will be the telling of it. So there's Kukino, Sexy, there's yourself, Butcher, and then the Spotify. That's top 4 currently. 2 of which are 1-2s. So it's no, but in the standings. Yeah, and then it's 1-2 as well. Just depends. Alright, anyway. Let's get Butcher's game in. Ooh. Alright, never mind. We're gonna go for someone else. I made a horrible math error. There's also the Bulge House as well. And your seeding. So let's see what match I actually want to watch. Let's get Milky Way. Milky Way. Slot, there we go. Math is hard. It's beyond my mortal comprehensions. Alright, thank you. Gent, sound, thank you. Okay. Let me put up the thingy. There we go. Alright. I need nicotine right now. That's fine. Okay. So it's Wood Elves versus the Lizards. I might actually steal these builds. Time for theft. All right, let me actually see what the who's going to be playing who. So as it stands right now, it's going to be Spotify versus Kukino, and then Butcher versus Sexy Boy. Assuming nothing else in the bracket changes. So that would be interesting, although there could be There's a few people with 2-1s. Or 1-2, sorry. In the wings. Who could end up going through Bulch House unless Coquino loses. So, there's a few bits and pieces. Yeah, there's a few of them here. Could be interesting. We do have Milky Way in the room. Never mind. No spoilers. Not allowed. It's against the rules. Solemn code that all casters must. They're obliged contractually. Oh, that's so silly. But on brand. Alright. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, Butcher. I've been doing testing for the rebirth stuff. How many kill? What's the most amount of kills I've gotten using 3 war wagons into just Norscan infantry? At a guess. Out of the 3 units, what was the most amount of kills? It's unhinged. One of them, the most amount of kills I got, none of them got under 500. 667. A unit of Outriders ended up with about 800, I think. Yeah, 800. And they only had to charge 2 units before army losses. And then Pistoliers had like 400 before army losses or something set in. It's ridiculous. Ha! We'll give it a second. Alright. Also, as usual, folks, if there's any maps from the Vermin League ladder that you don't like, just let me know and I'll remove them from the rotation. Although at some point in the finals we will force it being on Glacier Lake. The only one I don't randomize is the finals. I just tend to have it on the tourney grounds. Everything else is just roll dice and pick a map and away you go. Oh, cool. They're good to go. God damn. Alright, on the side of Sexy Boy, we have Glade Riders, Sisters of Thorn, Wild Riders with Shields, Sisters of Thorn, Glade Riders, Dirthu, which I'm assuming, yeah, Sword of Death and Flock of Doom. Some more Starfire Shafts here, 2 of them, and then some Eternal Guards with Spears, Wild Hunters of Kurnos. Pretty much the same build as he brought before. And and then Chameleon Skinks, the Pikabuga Duders, Chameleon Skinks, Chameleon Skinks, Chameleon Stalkers. Now 2 Stalkers, Pterodons up in the sky, Oxyotl. 2, 3, 4. 4 Stalkers, 2 Skinks, a little bit of cavalry along with these chaps as we're having a kite off to end all kite offs. And then we have Lord Croak here who's getting beat up on. Oh dear. Oh. Map is not happy right now. Oh dear. Alright, it seems to have sorted itself out. I'm no longer lagging. As we're seeing more shots ring out here, these guys are taking absolute battering. As it does seem as the Lord Croak is going to be doing some shenanigans. Although they are going to try and focus him down. Pterodon's up in the sky here, continuing to shoot down. But can you take Croak? Right, I'll check that afterwards. Glubdum's Terror, Feral Carnosaur. As we're seeing more shots ring out, Pterodon's taking a little bit of damage. Wild Riders have crashed in over here, doing a decent job. The Zotes did manage to take out Lord Croak. As we're seeing everything else move in here, these chameleon stalkers are not having a good time. Wild Hunters of Kurnos are going to deal with them, but not before a giant dinosaur comes in and takes a bite out of them. More shots ringing out here. Things are not looking good for Milky Way, as it's kind of good night and good luck. But a decent attempt using a meme build. Very funny. 10 out of 10. Glad I casted this one. You're seeing these Glade Riders now get caught up here by these chaps. They're going to take a little bit of damage for their troubles. But most of the kite elements here have been taken out. Some chameleon stalkers are just going to do their thing, but there's so much mobility from the side of the Helves. Dinosaur is going to get shot to bits. More stalkers are taking damage. Oxyottl's healthy, but everyone is just ignoring him. But the duel of the century. A giant tree versus a little lizard. Who's going to win? He runs away. Never mind. As pretty much everything else is en route, giant dinosaur is going to be fighting the Wild Hunters of Kurnos, some Zotes, and a few other bits and pieces, and I believe the Sword of Death is going down on them as well. Or is it? Probably the Sword of Death. Everything else is more or less en route. Dirthy's going to be kited out just a little bit, but not before the Sisters of Thorn. And some Glade Riders are just going to shoot everything to bits, and that's the army losses. Can you take Croak? GG's. That was definitely a build. And the blob in the corner is very, very funny. Yeah, that... Good God. She ped for herself. Good job. You ped for yourself. Good job. You definitely ped for yourself. Dirty didn't get much done, but he didn't have much really to hit. Ow. It didn't quite work out, Milky Way. Didn't quite work out. Can you take Croak? I never thought that would be something someone would pick. But that's very fucking funny. Where's the lizards? Yeah, you can. That's fucking hilarious. I don't know why I never knew that. GG's. Probably because I've never seen him. Probably. So there's just one, just Butcher and Spotify left. Thank you, Curio. I appreciate you. I already have that one. I don't have that one. And then... Don't think I have that one. Yeah, there we go. I think I have all of them. Please no Glacier Lake. I'll do it just to spite everyone. Swarthafen is an awful map at the moment? Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Because I've heard some people complain about Pillar of Bone. And likewise with Alpine Ridge, I just don't like it. I think it's pretty silly. So those two I just don't do. But yeah, I just don't know. I've not played on all of the maps, so I just don't know. Alright, how are we fixed for the bracket? Thank you, Butcher. Cheers, Butcher. Let's take a quick peek at the bracket. Do a quick refresh and see. Double check all your matches and make sure you're happy. That all the scores are down as they are. Toothgrass to should be, we should. That works. That works. I'm contented with that. All right, so we have Butcher with 3-1, top of the pools currently. Spotify with the 3-1, coming second. Technically speaking, they're identical. They're 4-0. We have Curio with the 2-2, and then Sexy Boy with the 2-2 as well. All right. Thank you for joining in such short notice, Kukino. I hope it didn't mess up your evening or anything. Thank you, though. Deeply appreciated. And then Kukino in 5th, and then Milky Way on the Lizards with a 1-3. Is everyone contented? Everyone, let me just actually message the crew and make sure, because I go to bed. Oh, Slash Boy just dropped. Top 4? Top 4? Question mark? That's Slanesh Boy. It's 2-stage. It's 2-stage. It's 2-stage. And you are 4th, so you in. Two more matches max. 2 more matches max. Max. I assume the tiebreak is that okay. Cool. Alright. So let's crack on with this because people are wanting to go to bed. And the group stage. So Spotify. Heads or tails? And then I can lie about it because I have no camera. And my room is a mess, so fuck actually doing it. The tiebreakers finals? No, it's a top 4. So it's Butcher versus Sexy Boy and then Spotify heads. Right, let me shake the coin. Make sure that I'm not going to cheese it. Spotify versus Curio it is. Alright, so we're going to be watching Spotify and Curio. That's Spotify at Curio. Oh, never mind, you've already sent it, thank you. Neat. And multiplayer battles. Let's get up the. Since BR Wood Elves is so fucked, what does the Wood Elves even do? It's Butcher. Copy. They lose. Open slot. Spotify. Open slot. Open slot. Oh, you're fine. Cool beans. That's entirely on knowledge, not because it's anywhere playable. Because the way that I think about it is you have the Glady to net down one of the cav, nuke it, have a bunch of cheap cav just to choke everything up, and then hope you can Malkots it. Has to be 3 with Enigmas for box even. Interesting. And it's not even a matchup with any flexibility. Oof. Yeah, did I fight Teddy on it before? I can't remember. I remember fighting Brett on Counts. And then he showed me the build he uses against Counts, and I cried. Okie dokie. Try to lose last round to get my back to get back on bird, lol. Spoilers, Spotify. Spoilers. Alright. For the semi-finals, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to crack on with this. We have Durkits, Epic Loonies, the Mangy Marauders, lots of boys, plenty of the lads, Black Orcs, Durkit Squigs, the Broken Tusk Mob, some Savage Orc Ars, a Goblin Great Shaman, and a Spooder, for the looks of things, with Don't Even Try It, the Sneaky Snapping, Vindictive Glare, an Arcane Conduit. And is there any more Lords or Heroes? Nope. Going pretty wide with this one, but with the Giant Enemy Spider. And then on the side of Spotify, we have the Celestial Dragon Guard, some archers in the backfield, along with the Grand Cannons, and a Great Moonbird. Moonflare. I don't think I've ever seen this thing used yet in my time playing the game. Man, it can fly, guys, and that's crazy. And then on the Celestial General, we have Celestial Sweep, Lord of Grand Cathay, and the Brass Cleaver. And I'm curious as to how this one is going to go. What's in the box? A cannon. And a bunch of crossbows are in the box. Alright, now we're just waiting for the two gentlemen to get their shit together. They're pretty neat. Kaboom. What are they shooting at? They're probably going to shoot... Oh, they're actually going for the Hammer of Gork right off the bat. The artillery duel to end all arty duels. Because unfortunately the Giant Enemy Spider has taken a little bit of a battering to begin with. But both sides are content to just sit down, have an old chat, As that's going to be one of the cannons gone, bring it down to 3. How are we fixed over here? All 4 of the rock lobbers are still in play. And after that volley, they remain in play. They are getting some decent damage in, though. Does seem Spotify is rejigging his formation. As we get the giant enemy spider continuing to get ready for another gaze of Mark to try and take out more of them. As another cannon goes down. Down to 2. The artillery duel is being won by the greenskins. Oh dear. And now that forces our poor fellers to have to move forward. Greenskins content to let the artillery do its wicked work. As the Dune Dragons are going to be taking a little bit of damage to start off with. Don't Even Try It has gone down on the Lord. As we see some little shots ripped off here. As the front lines now are beginning to engage. Dirk at Squigs coming forward. As it's going to be the artillery taking another battering. Fortunately not killing any models. But oh my god, he's getting nuked. Good god. That's a lot of damage very quickly. No! Curio! No! He might just rout. The artillery continues to do its wicked work. Crossbows doing some serious damage here. 2 cannons are still in play. They're back with the brand new track. And they're going to shoot at him. They might kill him. Is he going to be super deaded? Epic Loonies are coming forward. And the spin to win. Going to be hitting a couple of units. Dirk at Squigs moving through. A nice charge as the formation is disrupted. They do take a lot of damage in return though. And that Lord is probably dead here as Spotify goes for the dive on him. Broken Tusk Mob going for the surround to try and get at those juicy archers in the backfield. And Black Orcs are up here as well and ready as the cannons amble forward. And that is going to be their Lord sent away. Balance of power so far is in the favour of Bretonia. But there's a little bit more gas in the tank yet as the Broken Tusk Mob finally starting to move forward. We are seeing some of the dudes continue to do work over here. Backfield is being compromised. The Dirk at Squigs are gone. Shots ringing out as we are going to see the Celestial Dragon Guard move back. And another spin to win comes in. Continuing to do some pretty nasty damage here. They are just getting nuked. Good God. As another Celestial Dragon Guard continues to do work. Broken Tusk Mob coming through here looking for some juicy targets. Unfortunately, the Savage Orcs are having a bad day. The Moonbird completely ignoring the artillery, which has gotten a considerable amount of value, all things considered, as the box has been opened up. And I think there's only one piece of RT yet left. Yes, indeed. As the morale fails here from the side of the Broken Tusk Mob, thanks to their Lord getting taken out. But not before we get some Savage Orc Boar Boys coming back in to return the favour. Some Orc Boys coming back in. These Savage Orcs are going to hold out for a little bit longer. Balance of power is in the favour of Spotify still. As they are probably going to be gone. Moonbird continuing to be kited out here by the mangy marauders. Savage Orcs have won that engagement. Do see the push through here of more infantry coming in to support. Cavalry managing to support. The armoured orcs are going to kite this one out as well. The arty is now gone from both players. Gone but not forgotten here as we are going to see these guys kept at bay from touching the Savage Orcs. There's another rear charge comes through here, but they're not going to get good charge. The Moonbird is nearly dead. The Curio's not out of it. The 8-peak loonies are still here, holding firm. Strong fellers. They're crazy. As it does seem as though there's a route in play. Savage Orcs coming around. Moonbird is continuing to be kited out by these guys. How much value have they gotten? Nearly at that grand. As it does seem the Celestial Dragon Guard here maybe should be turning around to try and keep those archers in play. We do see some orc boys out here in the background. Ruglans are gone. We still do have some archers though. As unfortunately the Celestial Dragon Guard are going to come in and support. More shots ringing out here. The mangy Marauders doing shenanigans, but they're still getting really good damage on the Moonbird. He's going to go down. And the balance of power creeps back ever so slightly in the favour of the Greenskins, but there's still a lot of fight left in it. Here's these Orc boys are going to take out these Celestial Dragon crossbows. The Great Moonbird is probably going to go down here, as these Ruglan's Armoured Orcs are going to be taking a bit of a battering though. And I think a rear charge in here might be able to help just a smidgen. There's a few units here woefully out of position here for the side of Grand Cathay. But if I might have to be careful, as we are seeing these Savage Orc Arab boys throw in into this big ball of angry halberds. As unfortunately these guys now rout. Orc boys are going to be going up against the Celestial Dragon Guard. Armoured Orcs come back now and are going to start battering them, along with these archers in support and these Orc boys over here on the flanks. Moonbird taking flight for the moon and the stars. As more Orc boys come back. Balance of power is creeping back. Are they actually firing, or are they just thinking about it? Well, they're going to get a couple of shots in. Yeah, a little bit of damage, not too bad, not too shabby. Might have to go after the Celestial Dragon Guard here, because they are going to take out the Hammer of Gork, which still has a little bit more gas in the tank. Might be worth saving, as these Celestial Dragon Guard are going to get rear charged. A little bit of damage. Morale's still holding fine. The Broken Tusk Mob unfortunately stuck over here on the flank. We're seeing shots ring out all the time. Artillery has finally been compromised. Balance of power still even Stevens. But all rules are being fulfilled currently, as the Ruglan's Armoured Orcs have come back. A little bit of idling over here, catching the Mangrub's mangy Marauders. How much value have these guys gotten from ripping these shots? They've actually done pretty okay. Setting up here for a rear charge at some point. There's some isolated targets here that might be worth taking out. But without single entities to disrupt, or infantry even for the most part, they don't count as braced. Do they know? Another charge comes through. The Broken Tusk Mob is taking a battering though. Probably the healthiest unit, but it does seem as though the arty's gone. These chaps over here have been finally charged and probably going to break. Ruglan's Armoured Orcs could be helping to deal with some stuff. Setting up now for another unit to take out. But you need to get those infantry into support. Broken Tusk Mob might come back, but it's not. They did actually come back. That's interesting. Balance of power is danger low here for the Greenskins. One bad engagement here with their mobility could be the end of it all. They are taking damage, but they're going to do a fair amount in return, as the mangy Marauders are going to be battered. No sign. There we go. Another rout. Bunch of units over here are in position to take on the Celestial Dragon Guard. And with that rout and being able to chase stuff off, they're going to be okay, but they still have a very, very healthy Celestial Dragon here on the flanks, which is very spooky. Another one gone. It will not let me... Oh, my apologies. Hang on. There we go. Start final stage. There you go. These guys are going to be taken out. GC has too much left. There's still some ranged in play, though. Oh, dear. That's troubling, though. That these guys have come back. Still chasing off some of the routing units. They need to kill confirm. That's one of them gone. And the one over here can go. Greenskins need to really clump up now. Try and find everything that they can, get all of their shit together. But they're gone. Grand Cathay continuing to advance over here. 22 of them left. They're just going to abandon them. They'll probably come back, but they're isolated, so it shouldn't be the end of the world. Need to jump on those archers. Start getting ready for a surround. The Greenskins are starting to get their act together. But these guys are basically on the verge of breaking. They're... As soon as something looks at them funny, they're gone. They're tired. Very tired, but bracing. These are fresh, though. Fresh. Winded. Very tired. Repositioning here to try and get a load on these guys. Stuff is moving forward. But it's half the map away. If these guys come back, that's going to be brutal. But I don't think they will. I think it's over for them. As we're seeing the Greenskins start to reconstitute what they got. Now just a waiting game with all of these units starting to get back into position. Biggest problem is these chaps are very healthy, along with their lord. Had the giant enemy spider not been taken out at the beginning, this would be a very different story. We're still reconstituting ourselves. And the archers will be able to do a little bit of work as well, keep in mind. Has Spotify forgotten? Oh no. Those archers are, considering how much ammunition they have left. Right. Starting to get back into position. Starting to push forward. Stuff is starting to get its act together here. Everyone's starting to move into positions. Get ready for the surround. I think a volley, one volley might actually be enough to actually break these guys, is the thing. Although it does seem as though the archers just about in position. Going for the dive now. Bit early. But I guess that's pretty much the only value these guys have. Broken Tusk Mob coming out around the side here as well. Archers getting ready to move forward. Spotify should, by rights, be moving forward here to attack. Curio's going to be the one to make the move, though. Charge comes in here, and these guys, they get one shot off. Another shot off. They're pretty much they're both units of even trade. Not before the rangy marauders get to go down, though, unfortunately. You need to shoot it. Yeah, there we go. Alright, there's stuff happening now. Yep, there we go. These Savage Orcs will do fine. Get the charge in, nice. They're broken. These guys are coming forward here as well. That's all good. They're technically moving forward, so... Shots start to ring out now. Although they immediately break! They fired a volley and they broke. Set up now for the surround on these guys. If they go down... I don't think Grand Kate has much gas in the tank here. Goes for a charge. Nice damage. They come out. Orc boys move forward. These guys might get the surround on them now in a second. They get to rip a shot. They can come back in and do a little bit more. How much damage are they doing per volley? Not very much. Ruglans did come back, which is nice of them. They're not braced yet. A defensive square formation. Their volley comes down. More stuff breaks. A wall comes through. Charge comes through here. Beautiful. These guys are about to break in a second. Perfectly surrounded. Another charge will come through then in a second as well. They might break in just a moment. The Lord is coming back in. Trying to get out of dodge. One of them breaks, shatters even. Another one on the verge of shattering. Charge comes through. Stay in for a second, let that charge bonus do its wicked work. But with just a Lord alone, they're just on the verge of breaking. No, they all break. Uh-oh. Down to the wire. Lost ground, and that's going to be Spotify moving on. Down to the wire. Thank you, Butcher. How did they do? Threw my lord away. Yeah, had you not done that, I think you would have won. 1400, 1300, 125. The Rock Clobber did really well. Savage Orcs, they did fine. Black Orcs didn't do great. And even then, he still did a bit. To be fair, there was a little bit of funkiness with attacking stuff. Just at the very end. I've seen that you were walking a couple of units forward, which is fine. Or the general idea of repositioning. But, yeah. Alright, it's going to be Spotify versus Butcher then in the grand finals. So. Let me find Butcher's game. BB. Alright, the finals. Paid attention to that. No, I noticed that. Not exciting, but I had to try that. I mean, you still had to wait for all your units to get into, thank you, Spotify. Join the code. Cool. You also needed to get your dudes to stop being exhausted. Ooh, sugar, where is it? Here we go. Just in time. But yeah, once your lord was thrown away, you were definitely fighting from behind. Like, how much more damage would you have gotten against all the dudes? The answer is a lot. Just like Gaze of Morking down the line. Close all these goddamn tabs. And then we'll cast like 2 or 3 matches afterwards and we'll do a bit. Yeah, this checks out. Good God. Evil creatures. Evil creatures. Just wait now for our players to get themselves ready. Let me see, there was another. I fear the bird. The abattoir avian coming in to do unspeakable things. Alright, folks. The grand finals. At long last. At long last. Oh dear. Will Spotify get vengeance upon the burb? Or will Abattoir Avian take the W? Well, we will soon find out, as we're just going to wait for everyone to start deploying to begin with. There we go. We're starting to get our stuff act together just a little bit. Alright, people are starting to deploy. We're good. Okay, so on the side of Butcher Bird, we have a staunch line of peasants. The smell alone will most certainly make it difficult for their opponent. Some hippos up in the sky, but with wings. Hippogriffs even. Grail Knights. Grail Knights. More hippos. And Grail Knights. 3 and 2. And then we have the Fey Enchantress here hiding somewhere. Where's she gone to? Where is she hiding? There she is. The Fey Enchantress, of course, with the Chalice of Potions. Dwellers Below. Earthblood. And Life Bloom. Along with Arcane Conduit and the Misted Lady. A little bit of a Mortis Engine. And a debuff. And from the side of Spotify, we have a staunch line of Jade Warriors halberds. Some Peasant Long Spearmen. Iron Hail Gunners. Crane Gunners. Iron Hails, what is it? 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3. Along with a Celestial General once more. As we have the box. A big box. Alright. How is the box going to be opened? As we see a pivot around. An about face to get into position. I imagine once they're finished moving, there'll be a push forward now to try and do something to them. And so there is... As the staunch line of peasants begins their advance. I will say, it is nice to actually see proper cannon effects and stuff like that. One of my favourite mods for campaigns still has to be the Gunsmoke and Spectacle, which unfortunately isn't working at the minute. Having just a plume of smoke across the battlefield was just epic. Big fan. 10 out of 10. As we're starting to see everything pivot over to one corner. The peasants are going to be shot to itty bitty bits on the approach though. If any of them even reach, it'll be a shock. Well, that's cool. They actually do have reload animations. No harm, no foul. Now make it for Empire. Here, the front line is about to meet in just a moment. Not before a couple of peasants unfortunately break. The surround is about to begin. Over here, down she comes. The descent. As unfortunately the Fae is going to take a bit of a battering. Not before she actually gets in though, if she can find her way around the trees. She did manage to get in, disrupting that as the Grail Knights push through to take out the ranged Dwellers Below comes down here, breaking these Iron Hail Gunners. Over the top they come. Down they dive. As all of the ranged component now is pretty much entirely compromised here from Bretonnia in one fell swoop, quite literally and figuratively. Units starting to break out. Hippogriffs descend. I imagine an Earthblood's not too distant in the future. Broken. Cannons are broken. Halberds trying to close the box in around them, and unfortunately we do see the Grail Knights manage to get out. Earthblood has come down, chasing off the units. One unit of Hippogriffs is not looking too hot as it's forced to waddle through spears to get out. Peasants just holding everything down as just an absolute mess. Comes down here, bunch of stuff starting to break. Oh dear. And that's an awful lot of balance of the power just basically taken out of the equation. Spears and halberds moving in to try and join in the festivities. Iron Hail Gunners have come back over here, but will Spotify be able to get them online before they're immediately chased down? Another Earthblood comes down, helping these Hippogriffs. Grail Knights in very, very good nick. Starting to come through, get ready to charge anything that's out of position. And these Iron Hail Gunners are going to make some pew pew noises, but not before they're chased off. Hippogriffs over the top, making a beeline towards these crane gunners. Royal Hippogriffs here doing a decent job. Going after these Iron Hail gunners as well. More units en route. Still a lot of halberds in play, but there are a lot of means of actually disrupting them and forcing those good engagements that you wanted. These peasant long spears are going to be taken down. Routing units sent home. Iron Hail gunners about to be dived on. Oh, beautiful volley comes through. Will they get another volley through? No. That answers that one. We're looking over here. These hippogriffs now looking for something else to sink their teeth into. More chasing off of routed units, but unfortunately that's giving Spotify an opportunity to get into position. All the while we're seeing the heals come through, keeping everyone in tip-top condition. Peasants have made it into the front line. These guys are breaking and they're not even in combat. Where's the Fey Enchantress gone? She's just chasing these guys off. More power to her. Everyone needs a hobby. Iron Hail gunners are pretty much gone. I'd imagine another heal is in our future. Peasants being kept in reserve, getting ready to move through. And now, where is the box about to be broken once more as it is reformed? Another magical spell, I'm sure, is about to come down as these beautiful charge comes through. Decent damage. A little bit of that charge reflect probably going to come into effect here. We set up the peasants about to hit the front line. Another Earthblood comes down. And with that, the charge of the Rohirrim. Beautiful. Fey Enchantress about to come down as well. These spears are about to rout. As the Fey Enchantress dives in there. Another unit gone. Spotify, you should be attacking, bro. You have to be attacking with something. This is the second game now where there's been a little bit of shenanigans. Although no, you are hitting these guys. Yep, there we go. We're all good. Beautiful cast there comes down. Another routing unit been chased off. Another charge comes through. Their dive, try and morale shock everything down. Slowly but surely, the entire army is just getting picked apart. Earthblood is down. With more morale shocks. An opportunity now to chase off some of these routing units. Not take disadvantageous fights if at all possible. There we go. And the towel has been thrown in, and that crowns good game. There we go. Spotify, I will say, had to bear witness. Not that, as I said in DMs, the game is the game, Butcher. The game is the game, for better and for worse. Once the dive was complete there, how did that? Yeah, the Iron Hail gunners barely. Some of them didn't even get any shots off at all. And the ones that got kills, I'm fairly sure, only at the peasant front line. But just for future, just the semi-finals game, Spotify, just be a little bit more cognizant of the attacking stuff. Like the reforming, I don't mind. It's you kind of stood there for a while. Like you have to do something, even if it's disadvantageous. That's part of it. I think most things were in line there. This might be Brett's best matchup, including High Elves. Yeah, watching that fight into Ryder was pretty depressing. And made me want to learn Brett so I could take High Elves off of my global bans. Oh dear, how we fixed cannons did okay. Yep, we're all good. Wait, I never checked the... God damn it. Never checked Butcher's. Give me 2 seconds. I didn't check Butcher's. Now we have to inflict that on ourselves again. Let me just fast forward through it real quick. It'll only take like a minute. Run into Cav with 30 more mass on top and charge bonuses can't. Yeah, it's definitely a balancing thing. I understand it on paper it's not very frustrating, but keep in mind like kiting people out on con is the most tilting thing imaginable. I've often done it and I've not enjoyed the experience and ended up winning because you realise that the other person is just giga frustrated. But yeah, once Butcher got the duders in, it's pretty much over. Like once the range stuff is incapacitated and you're forced to have to actually move, it's just good night and good luck. Like look at all those routes. And even got taken out a couple of spears and stuff like that as well is just insane on that approach. Like literally swept into the flank, moved all the way through it, and then just took everything out. It's like wild. I think this is the point, I'm not sure. Yeah, there's like a few instances here where you're not really moving. I would deeply, and I'm sure your opponent would deeply appreciate if you actually did. Oh, my guns turn in his cav. Well, they don't get... They might have high DPS, but they're not able to kill all of it quickly enough. Along with the disruption from, like, dwellers and stuff like that. Yeah, there we go. Whoa! What on earth? What? Excuse me? Not at the very beginning it wasn't a problem. It was just that little segment at the end after he'd reformed is the only thing that's making me raise eyebrows. After he only had melee troops, it didn't matter. That is also true. Alright, I didn't get to look at your... Yep. And you had peasants, but it was on the... It's just on the approach. There's like a few... There was like a half a minute or whatever of no one doing anything. 1400, 1800s. he should have probably approached. It's just I noticed it in the semi-finals game more so than this one, Butcher. So I think it's just worth pointing out. You, to be fair. Now that's also that I do understand that. It's just in for future reference. 1,000 value from like 1 or 2 dwellers and the big explosion. Yeah, GG's. Really, really nice. And thus, congrats. Alright, let's do the thing. Congrats to Butcher Burb. Congrats to Butcher for taking win for the lady. That's Butcher Bird. Good job. Good job, Butcher. Alright. We can complete the tournament. Yeah, semi-final. That's more or less why I'm pointing it out for that game in particular. You could argue that it was also a kind of a dead set thing. But For the lady. The breadsticks, nice. Alright, is there anyone that we didn't really get to see? We'll do a couple of matches. We'll cast a couple more matches and then I'm going to probably go to sleeps. Right, let me gather the rest of the replays. Yeah, I'll get another cast of you, Butcher. Greenskins versus Brett. Alright, we'll see what we got. We should have a bunch of replays now. Do you want to see this though? Kind of. Or is there another Brett game that I've missed? Oh, we didn't watch much of Cookie, no. Let's go see how this went. Both were awful. Whatever. Either way, we are going to see on the side of Bretonia Leo Leon Kerr, Knights of the Realm, Champions of Quillens, Knights of the Realm, Peasants in the front rank, gracefully about to die for their lord. We do, of course, have some Peasant Bowmen with fire. Wasn't as bad as this. I can do that then. Afterwards, we'll just do a couple of games. And then from this, do we have a caster here? We do have her somewhere here. Where is she? Life caster. Damsel just with Earthblood. Spamming out that. Pesties. 4 of them in total. Magnificent. Then Pox Riders. And the Barons of the Bog. Some Furies up in the sky. Noxbringer. a Chaos Sorcerer with Spirit Leech, Fate of Buna, Arcane Conduit, and Crown of Everlasting Conquest. But taking an extra bit of fire damage. Magnificent, marvelous, as we're going to see these guys continue to do their thing. Nope. As they get into position, Noxbringer continuing to make... I believe he gets rid of ammunition as well, which we just seen there. Fantastic. Going for another target here. On a unit that isn't disrupted, so we can hopefully get more kills. Pestigores are going to dive in on these chaps here. And having the calves slowed down so the other things can actually hit them is epic and cool. Pestigores are just a niche unit in that respect. As we're going to see now the front lines collide. Barons of the Bog getting ready to charge in. Have their mass, keeping things in a massive pile of Pestigores. The occur pulling back. As the great blobbening is about to begin. Moving in here, we're going to see that front line come through with slowing down these units. If they do slow down, that's going to keep these knights locked in. The Barons in the Bog can go to town and get a little bit of extra damage. So too, well, the Pesties, as you can see here, actually getting some decent damage in. Furies diving, dodging, darting. Going in after some of these peasant bowmen. The companions of Quellens getting buned down to naught, as Leon Kerr is going to have a little bit of a duel with a sorcerer on a horse thing. Not really a horse. Kind of stinks. As unfortunately Leon Kerr is getting chased down. You hate to see it. And here we are seeing, just look at that slow coming through. Crazy stuff. Barely able to get out. Speed down to 20. As unfortunately, Barons, the Plague Toads are going to be taken out for the count. More cavalry doing its thing as the peasant bowmen now are taking a lot of damage. And here we see the Knights of the Realm continuing to dart in whenever they get an opportunity. These peasants rout, we might see some stuff get stuck. But alas, it's not to be, as we see an Earthblood come down and healing all of these chaps. Unfortunately, the Noxbringer is in the middle of a giant... a cav, boxed in by the cav and some cav with wings. Being thrown down, but now it doesn't have many archers to have to take out. We do see the Furies up in the sky. Maybe might be able to do something, but... it's not looking good for Nurgle. There's a lot of mobility pieces. The Barons of the Bog isolated in with a bunch of Knights of the Realm. Pestigores coming in to help out, who are going to take out this damsel. And these chaps are going to be locked in. Another dive comes down here, and of course, speed down to 64. They're tired. But with these guys routing... poisoned, routing... are these Pestigores? They should have that effect triggered, shouldn't they? Lock them up. As the questing Knights of Quellens are in a bad way. The Healthcaster is back on track. How are these Pesties doing? The Pesties are doing fine. As Leon Kerr is being chased by a bunch of frogs. Truly the French's nightmare. He and the homies. It's thematic, guys, trust. Pestigores coming in here. Probably to help out in this utterly horrendous blob. Chaos Furies are doing fine, but they are starting to rout off. The Companions of Quellens are broken. Making it difficult for these guys to get out. Oh dear, oh dear. Hippo's managing to dive out. Fate of Buna here on these Knights of the Realm is pretty brutal. As they're probably going to go down here. And get chased off by Furies. See these Plague Pox Riders and Nurgle trying to get out of dodge. Just escorting the crew out of here. Get them out of here. Get them out of here. As the hippogriffs are feasting. Feasting! Still chasing some stuff off here on the flanks. Unfortunately, these plague toads are going to be out. Bretonia is ahead in the balance of power. Can't really disagree with that as another charge comes through. And a bunch of Pestigores about to move on in, along with the heal. Another Spirit Leech goes down here on the Damsel. These Plague Toads are going to be caught out of position here and eaten alive by some hippos. Another charge comes through these peasants. How are the peasants doing? Are they having a good time? They're alive. That's a good time. And now with all the mass gone, pretty much here from the side of Nurgle, I think that's all of them gone. It's just Pestigores. They ideally need to take out some of these peasants, so that the knights are forced into compromising positions. Another Spirit Leech goes down. Pestigore's caught up in this mass. Another Earthblood comes down, keeping these guys all in tip-top condition. Chaos Sorcerer Lord gets caught. Ouch. And that's going to be the army losses, and Butcher takes it. The Butcher of the Mortis Wastes. Knights of Quans. Knights of the Realm did phenomenal. The Hippos did fine. Archers didn't do fuck all. But the peasants, one of them was very healthy at the end. Good lord. And Leo, go on Leo, up the town, up you by ya. Yeah, some of the Pesties did okay. I think Pestigores are a really cool unit. Just like in concept. Milky Way versus Spotify. Yeah, we can watch that, I reckon. Alright, let's keep an eye. And where was I pinged? Now, from the side of unlucky Spotify, we see some peasant long spears. A bunch of them. Some Jade Lancers on the flank, along with more Jade Lancers and a peasant horseman supporting over this side. The big, mean and green. 2 War Lions. A Celestial General and an Alchemist with the Alchemist stuff. All very epic, all very cool. What does the General have? No? What do you have? Lord of Grand Cathay and Celestial Sweep. Then on the side of Milky Way, Skinks. With Javs in the backfield as well. Some Ripper Dactyls up in the skies, along with the Colostodon Hunters. The anti-large variant. A Coatl. And Tic-Tac-Toe. Along with a Skink Priest of Heavens with Harmonic Convergence and the Comet of Casadora. Marvelous stuff as the lions. They roar. And lizards are on the menu. They jump, leap and bound onto some of the lizards. That is going to be a Skink cohort taking a lot of damage to start off with. Jade Lancers pushing through here, trying to go for a bit of surround. Not going to be interrupted much. Although as they've idled, the Ripperdactyls and company are about to go for the dive. Over here, these lions are having a grand old time. Along with the Astromancer, with the Celestial Comet and the Celestial Lightning, and the Nexus of Eternal Winds, and the Celestial Silk Robe. Unfortunately, these skinks are going to be out of here as the Goon Squad just continues to do shenanigans. Down comes the Comet. Not a big dive coming down over here either, as Aquatl is helping out take out these Jade Lancers. As a Comet of Cassadora does a serious amount of damage over here, but at the cost of a skink cohort. As more Jade Lancers get chewed on by pterodactyls. What does Tic-Tac-Toe have? Master of the Skies, Deadly Onslaught, Mask of the Heavens, and the Blade of Ancient Skies. Astromancer here is just going to be skedaddling with the Goon Squad, with the homies, with the crew. These Jade Lancers and Peasant Horsemen continue to get up to shenanigans over on the flanks. Could have gone for a nice charge here against those skinks with Javies. It's down here we are going to see the skinks versus some peasant long spears. Spears are down. Hello, Hillbilly Jr. Peasant spearman now skedaddling off. About to get tic-tac-toed by the looks of things. As the Air Force descends from on high to tear them limb from limb. And they are not having a good day. See, these Peasant Horsemen now are on the verge of rout. But Milky Way doesn't have all that many means of really taking stuff out. Is that a comet coming down, or is it a thunderbolt of lightning? Very, very frightening me. If we go for another dive here on the general by the looks of things. Some spears out here. An awful lot of the infantry and the hero Goon Squad are still in very good nick, as they all go for the dive here onto the hero squad. We do still have some horsies, as these Pterodon riders are going to continue making some pew pew noises. I believe that's the Astromancer now, is taking a lot of damage. Probably going to go down here, but at the cost of an awful lot of units. Peasants are terror routing. We still have... Is any cavalry? There's one unit of cavalry. As unfortunately the Ripperdactyls are forced back. Colostodon Hunters have managed to do a decent amount of damage here to the Astromancer. Although I think he still has a Celestial Comet in his back pocket for just such an occasion. These Peasant Horsemen are pretty much dead. These Peasant Horsemen are about to get dived, I would imagine, any second now. But with a bunch of very scary single entities, and a bunch of infantry for them to fight over, even if we don't take out the skirmish elements here, that might be a little bit of a problem. The Jolly Green Giant is going to be taking a little bit of damage, but not before taking out these Colostodon Hunters. The Ripperdactyls looking for an opportunity to dive on something. Tic-Tac-Toe's about to rout. And a Comet trying to take out the dinosaurs, it's confirmed. As the Coatl now... No, the Coatl's actually doing a decent job. Not before Tic-Tac-Toe gets routed. Balance of power creeps ever forward in the favour of Spotify. Unlucky for some as a dive comes down here on these Jade Lancers. And unfortunately, an unfortunate bestie that is going to be unlucky Spotify. Not so unlucky this day. GG's taking the W. Right. Jade Lancers didn't have a great time of it. Neither did the Peasant Horseman. The Giant did. The Terracotta Sentinel ROR did really, really well. The hero was on. Yeah. Hero Hammer does hero hammery things. All of these guys didn't do much. The Lions did okay. And of course the Terracotta Sentinel did amazing. Coatl do 700. The Ripperdactyls probably, yeah. The Aura War in particular did really well, but it had stuff to feast on. Fortunately, the Skinks kind of got rolled over. And the Flying Skirmish elements really struggled. Oh well. Oh well. So, who else we got? Seven. I think we're just missing one from the pools. Let me just see who we're missing it from. Because there should be 8 matches that we didn't get to cast from the pools. Your spot. Yeah, there we go. Brett versus Greenskins. Do we have the Brett versus Greenskins? We're actually missing 2. Give me just a moment. Let me see which replays I've missed out on. GS versus Nurgle. I think that's the one we're missing. Battle replay. Yeah, we might as well watch this. Get Curio on the screen. Curio. Greenskins versus Brett as well, I see is here. Let me just save it. And then... is there any more? Because I casted you twice. This will be a third. But either way, on the side of the Greenskins, we're going to have some Savage Orc Boar Boys, Orcars, 8-Peak Loons, more Orc Boar Boys, Goblins, the Bolt Throwers, more Goblins, Ruglan's Armoured Orcs, Great Goblin, Great Shaman, Broken Tusk Mob, more Orcar Boys, the Snotling Pump Wagons, and Durkat Squigs. You love your Durkat Squigs, along with some Deaf Creepers. Oh, more than 6 flying in it? Is there more? I'll give a count in a second. One, 2, 3. Alright, either way. From the side of Nurgle. Furies. The Death Angels of Decay. More Furies. Marauder Horsemen. Pesties in the backfield. Wonderful little popcorn fellers in the front rank. Along with the ROR being the Frolickers Bubonic. And there's Marauder Horsemen on either flank. And from the Lord, Doom and Darkness, Spirit Leech, Cloud of Flies, Life Leeching and Arcane Conduit. The Noxbringer, of course getting rid of that ammunition, firing at some of these ranged units to begin with. All delightful stuff. As we are going to see now the shots ring out. The counter battery going on this poor Noxbringer. He's going to have to duck dive. Zigzag about the place. Dodging the expert artillery here from the Greenskins. We're now shooting at Nurglings. Not ideal. As we do see the Savage Orc Boar Boys go after these throwing axes. They might be able to just catch them or at least kite them out a small bit. Fortunately, they're going to be a little bit more isolated, and we're going to see the dive come down on the Furies by the looks of things. Try and help out, take out those mobility pieces. Imagine they're going to dive right about now. Yeah, there we go. Catching all of them. And the Axemen are going to continue throwing in on top of them. Front lines have engaged here. The Dirket Squigs bursting their way through some Pestigores. You do see the Goblins come forward now to try and do a little bit of damage. We do see Spirit Leech coming down, unfortunately, from the big Goblin. The giant enemy spider going to be having a whale of a time. Who does have just Vindictive Glare, an Arcane Conduit, and of course Crown of Command, and don't even try it. Axemen here, over here on the flank, going to throw in, but they are taking an awful lot of counter battery. Furies decided to disengage here and reconsider life decisions. If the demonic counts as having a life. Unfortunately, the Chaos Sorcerer here is going to be targeted down here by Goblin Bolt Thrower. Realizing now that it's a massive threat, we do see Kakino come in for a dive in on top of it. Shots ring out. Angels of Decay going to throw down here on what looks to be the pump wagons. Good choice. As these Pestigores are unfortunately going to rout now in a second, but not before locking in the Broken Tusk Mob in the middle of them, but they are going to rout anyway, so it's not going to make too much of a difference. Nothing, pump wagon's about to go down. We do see a Vindictive Glare come down here, hitting the Noxbringer square in the jaw. Ruglin's Armoured Orcs throwing in. Deaf Creepers. Furies are going to disintegrate. Or Instability Crumble, is that what it's called? Yeah, it's Instability Crumble. As we do see the Death Creepers dive in just to help them along on that transformative process in their lives. Melting away as they are. Reforming here are the green skin lines over on this flank, while over here it's just a little bit messier. The Broken Tusk Mob are going to be shot here by the Angels of Decay, who are going to be trying to help out. The Noxbringer and the giant enemy spider are having a bad time of it. And down come the shots. And that's going to be a lot of damage about to hit these poor fellers. Instability and Crumble. Unfortunately, the popcorns are going pop. Pestigores are kind of locked in. Theoretically bracing here. Not a great charge comes through here from the from the big boar boy Biggins. It's not going to matter much, as that is going to be the Lord down. Greenskins are very comfortable in their victory here so far. A lot of stuff still in play. Angels of Decay are not enough to carry it as the Noxbringer disintegrates away. Pestigore is just kind of hanging on for dear life over here. Might be able to take on the Broken Dusk Mob, or maybe kill the Shaman. Keep them in the fight for just a little bit longer, but as you can see over here, the throwing axes. They're going to take out these chariots, but there's just too much stuff. Not looking great. As that's going to be army losses, instability crumblings, and a GG. Good job to Curio. Poor El Nurgle. Let me just check that. So usually if players don't complain, I don't really say much. Unless it's pretty egregious. Can't land. No. Where is... the lizards? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He never counted. Yeah. It's happened to me before. It has very much happened to me before. Again, Spotify didn't complain, so... Alright, I have one more left in me before my voice gives out. So let's go. Butcher, is there a particular fight you'd like to see casted? We'll probably finish it out with yourself. Let me just scroll up and see if I'm not sure of anyway. Whatever you do, don't cast the first BR Grand Cathay or BR Wood Elf game. Okay. /360 area. Yeah, if you have problems like that, Curio, just bring it up. And if I don't know the answer, I'll talk to someone who does. It won't hold up the tournament. It's no big deal if no one complains. Again, it's a casual bracket. If there was money on the line, I'd be pretty vicious about it. Or I'd have a crack team in the background keeping an eye on these things. Alright. In your stream. There aren't many land battle tournaments and stuff like that, so it's understandable why people would mess up. So, anything but the first. Is this the... I do want to see how this pans out. We already know how it ends, but I'm curious. See what Butcher... Okay, the first one. So we'll watch this one instead. And then we'll finish up the stream. Yeah, again, there's casual events and no one's too upset. It's just worth pointing out that don't be an asshole, I think, is generally the vibe. Alright. On the side of Bretonia, we have peasant mobs in the front rank. Knights errant, knights errant, knights of the realm. Knights of the realm or a war. And I believe it's knights of the realm, knights errant, knights of the realm, knights errant, I'm guessing, yep. Peasant bows. I believe they're pox arrows, fire arrows, pox arrows, and fire arrow. Yep, there we go, we got it, we figured it out. Earth blood here on the side of the damsel. And then Leo Leon Kerr up in the skies. And then from the side of the wood elves, Sisters of the Thorn. One on either flank. Zotes. Enigmas of Gairan. Of course, you're getting the regrowth and the flesh to stone. Rather than the flesh to stone and earth blood. Orion. Hawk's Talon. Hounds of Orion. I believe, yeah, his Cloak of Ishka as well. Isha, not Ishka. Wrong language. Wrong language! Eternal Guards shields, of which there are 4 of them. And there we go. Finishing this one out, we're going to see the Zotes begin to engage. Sisters of the Thorn, reconsidering life decisions here as they're going to fire off a volley and do absolutely nothing. Except get charged. Over in this flank, they're going to play a little bit cagier, as the sisters here are going to have to leg it. But they're taking a fair amount of damage, but they will be able to kite out just a little bit with the 90 speed versus the 71. As we do see the hounds come down here on these peasant bows. These Zotes have overextended rather horribly. And Cav charge comes through, but these peasants are about to die pretty quickly. Ryan here continuing to make pot shots at whatever he pretty much can. Zotes coming in here with a big regrowth. Oh, we do have a caster, yeah. Melkot's, the pendulum. Melkot's here for the Cav is going to be very useful. Unfortunately, these Eternal Guard are just getting run through. And these Zotes are having a bad day of it. These Zotes over here continuing to chase off the infantry. As it does seem as though pendulum comes down. Getting a decent amount of damage. We hear the peasant mob chipping away at the corner. Orion continuing to make pew pew noises. Peasant mobs saturating in, helping out the Cav as a massive heal comes through. Sisters of the Thorn are going to be caught up in here as these Eternal Guard break. Over here Orion is going to get a nasty charge. Massive... I forget how massive Orion is. Poke. Fortunately here, these Sisters of the Thorn are going to be broken up. Eternal Guard come in here. This was the worst Wood Elf game. I thought it was the first one you said was bad. Where the Knights Errant running through these spears. As unfortunately everything is going to heck. Going to frick. A cool Wood Elf's build doesn't work here. Yeah. And that's going to be the towel thrown in. We'll cast another one to finish it out. Pretty nasty. Oof. Already seen this. One more game. Can get rid of that. We've already casted this. Yeah, we can get rid of this. Do Greenskins BR? Yeah, we'll do that then. Greenskins BR. And that'll end us out. Do I not have it downloaded? Very silly. Or is it directly in front of me and I'm just blind? Probably better than the last game. Apparently I have it downloaded twice. It's very funny. GG's me. No, I didn't have it downloaded. Alright. Let's take a peek. And this will be us done then for the evening. Cool. I don't know if 5 minutes of Blob is entertaining. It could always be worse. Cool! So, from the side of the Greenskins, we are going to see some Savage Orc Boar Boys. Orc Boar Boy Biggins, Savage Orc Boar Boys. More Boar Boy Biggins. The Broken Tusk mob, of course, and the Boar Boy Biggins here. Durkets. Of course, it's very, it has to be there. The Durket Squigs from the side of Curio. The 8 Loons as well. More Goblings. Orc Boar Boys with spears. And then some more Goblings here on the flanks. Ruglan's Armoured Orcs. And the Orc Shaman. Here we go. Fist of Gork. And then from the side of Gorbad, we get Morglor and Mangler. Along with the Great Leader. Very nice stuff. And then from the side of Butcher, the dreaded Spear Columns. Along with some peasant mobs in the front row of 5 of them. And then 3 Speos. Some Grail Guardians on one flank. And Knights Errant. And then on the far flank we just have a single Knight Errant. Do we have the... We have the Green Knight. No, that's... There we go. Does he have anything cool on him? Green Knight. There we go. See, the Sacred Guardian. Blessings of the Lady. And I think that's it outside of him being unbreakable. And then Albrecht de Bordelot, who's on his horse. And his horse is amazing. With that Wrath of Manan, Braid of Bordelot, and a Healcaster with, I imagine, with Dwellers Below and Earthblood. Cool beans as the front lines are about to engage. Looking here across the battlefield. Peasants rearing to go. As we see some goblins getting ready to set up charges. Some Savage Orc Boar Boys beginning to engage. Moving it around. Tempting fate here as we are going to see these knight errants get caught. But not before they move back into their unit of peasant friends. Ruglin's armoured orc's going to make some pew-pews over here as we see a reform of the spear line no longer in column. As we are going to see now all of these bits and pieces start to move in, get the engagements that they're looking for. As the Savage Orc Boar Boys move in, get a nice side charge here on the Knights Errant. Bit of a blob going down over here in the middle as we're seeing a bunch of stuff. Catch. Into axe. Beautiful stuff. Moving here. Broken Tusk Mob moving through. Try and get us some juicy targets. As Dewa is called. Knights Errant having a bad time of it. Peasants are going to be caught up. As everything else, the Savage Orcs move through here, going to be counter-charged though. Pretty even Stevens. It does seem as though these Grail Guardians are having a hard time, but Earthblood comes down. And does seem the Wrath of Manan, I believe. Yep, so it is. Little bit of the old friendly fire, but they're only peasants, that's what they're there for. Unfortunately, these Savage Orc Boar Boys are not going to be joining in the festivities. Goblins are starting to take the W over here. Peasants are en route. Spearmen at arms, not looking too hot as another charge comes through. Ruglin's Armoured Orcs. Once it gets to a blob, you could just fast forward, by the way. Oh dear. Cavalry starts to move around. Goes in for a nice charge here on the flanks for these Orc Boar Boys. Bunch of the infantry here from the side of Butcher. Damsel here. More peasants about to go. Man, you did not lie. Another buff spell comes down here. Good lord. Savage Orc Boar Boys coming in for nice charges here in the peasant mob. Grail Guardians not looking so hot. More stuff is breaking. Grail Guardians. Damsel of Life. And I think I will take your advice. And the loons. I think the two worst. This is the second one though that it doesn't need it other than those two. Interesting. On paper I'd like Brett because it's all about the mobility and really... This isn't even the proper blob yet. Oh man. Please tell me there's a Dwellers Below coming down. Damsel's gone, and then it's just a slow... Jesus. How many kills? 51. But there are 4 matchups that it's generally a fun, good faction. They were top for a while, weren't they? Or like considered very, very strong for a hot minute over the game's life cycle, weren't they? Yeah, and the Jolly Green, unfortunately, taken out. Brett does seem fun, but the roster is limited. Because I mostly play accounts for the cool-ass mobility. Let's be honest, okay? Hand on your heart, who says the Blood Knights aren't the coolest thing in existence? And hippos completely, so they ruffle stomped everything they touched. Yeah, that was my understanding. I didn't play much multiplayer, but I pretty much watched any of the replay casters for the most part. Oh, okay. I'm gonna call it quits, folks. I don't know when I'll be streaming again. It could be tomorrow, might not. I'll probably play Rebirth, to be honest with you. Considering everyone's mad about it at the minute. It's too bad they're kind of in game for the... Yeah, but they're cool. Any matchup they have even a hope of doing something, I'll take them. Obviously, you're playing Tequila tournament. I'll be probably playing it, yeah. Oh, sugar, yeah. Tequila's is tomorrow. Maybe. Oh, and Lich is doing his thing. And then I'm streaming. Then I'm co-casting that Elden Ring tournament. Ugh. I just wish they were better. They punch down very hard. But anyway, that's enough yapping. I'm going to probably go to sleep. I love you all. Thank you for joining the tournaments and congrats, the Abattoir Avian. Butcher Bird. You all are amazing. And congrats to Spotify coming second. Okay, now, let me... Bloods are fine, VC is just too limited to take them. I find they punch down... No, we're not doing that, no. I'll defer to your guys' judgment. You fight it out amongst yourselves. Alright. Who do I raid? I think Rain is live. Go to Rain on Twitch if she's still going. Twitch. Thanks to the tourney. No, thank you all for joining. We'll host probably at the usual Saturday. Next week, I believe Lich is hosting something on Saturday, or he's streaming Vermin League stuff, so I said I'd bring it a little bit earlier this week. But yeah, next Saturday, hopefully, assuming nothing goes horribly wrong. Did Rain stop? Rain apparently stopped streaming. So I don't know, there's only 2 people in Twitch chat. Y'all can... we'll just end. Alright, bye.